Hi guys, hope you're all okay. Today I'm going to be talking about sex. I've got a whole let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Okay, stop singing. Yes, I have seen quite a few people do a similar video to this recently on YouTube, and it's talking about their experience of sex education. A lot of the people I've watched have actually been based over in the States, and what they seem to be able to do in there varies massively from state to state. Obviously, it's been a long time since I was at school. The current legislation for the UK is that sex and relationship education, or SRE, is compulsory from age 11 onwards. It involves teaching children about reproduction, sexuality and sexual health. It doesn't promote early sexual activity or any particular sexual orientation. Some parts of sex and relationship education are compulsory. These are the parts of the national curriculum for science, so basically the biological stuff. Parents can withdraw their children from all other parts of sex and relationship education if they want. All schools must have a written policy on sex education, which they must make available to parents freely. And basically, that's it. So it's open to each school's interpretation. Okay, so I went to school in England, in Cornwall. I must admit, a lot of my sex education happened at home. I grew up in a very open house, a very naked house. Now that might sound creepy to some, but what I mean by that is I ran around in my pants a lot. Like, I didn't really go through puberty until I was like 14. I was like, I went from being completely flat-chested to a D cup in the summer holidays that I was 14. So I was a late bloomer. And yeah, I ran around in my pants a lot. A lot of the time I didn't have pants on. And my parents never were like, Katie, you're naked. It was like, oh, Katie's naked again. And yeah, and alongside that, body shape. I think that's why I had a positive attitude about body shape and stuff, because it was never like, cover yourself up, you're not right. Do you know what I mean? So there was that part was kind of, I got from home. It was also, I was that annoying kid that knew her babies come before everyone else. My eldest sister is 15 years older than me, and when I was 4, she had a baby with her husband, and I was given a book that basically, I think it was called something along the lines of, I know where babies come from, and it said something along the lines of, mummy and daddy or the man and a woman are very much in love, and they do a special cuddle, and the man puts a seed inside the mummy's tummy, or inside the lady's tummy, and then she grows a baby, and then she pushes the baby out of her. I'm quite sure it didn't say foo-foo. Foo-foo was the word used for vagina in my house, but it must have said something. Yeah, and that was kind of it. So I knew where babies come from, so I was down with that. So I went to a religious village primary school, very small. I think there was like 18, 20 kids a class. And in the last year of primary school, so I was 10, there was voluntary sex education. And basically the parents could remove you from that class if you wanted to. My parents didn't. So I went. It was a mixed class, so there was girls and boys in there. And basically we watched a video of a family, like there was a mum and dad, a son and a daughter, and they played naked volleyball. And basically within those, I think it was over 2 classes, we were taught the correct words, so breasts, vagina, penis, and it talked a little bit about the changes that were going to happen, that, you know, this is an adult woman, this is a prepubescent girl. And then it talked about, you know, body safety. So, like, these are your breasts and they're private and nobody's allowed to touch them. Which, in one sense, was really good because it was teaching kids about the proper words and safety. But it also... That's Gilly barking. It was teaching kids about safety, which was great. But then it was weird for me because I grew up in a naked house, and all of a sudden I was like, these are private, I can't, and obviously I was like 10, there was nothing there. And I'm going home and I'm like, my teacher says I'm not allowed to run around in my pants anymore. And obviously my parents were like, you can do what you want. If you want to put a t-shirt on, you put a t-shirt on. If you want to run naked, run around naked. And I ran around naked. And yeah, my next set of sex education came in when I believe I was 11. So I was at secondary school. It was a mixed faith secondary school. Yeah, and it was much bigger. In that session, it was kind of sex education was split a little bit. In biology, which is a science lesson, you were taught the physical actions of it. You know, you had that great diagram of ovaries and stuff, and yeah, and it was all about sperm, and it was very scientific, which is in a science lesson, so it's going to be. So that was taught, and everybody was taught it, and it was in your normal science class. And then everybody, all girls and boys, were separated for the other parts of sex education. And in the girls' classes, which obviously I attended, you were taught about periods. So, you know, sanitary wear, things like that, and what to expect. And it was actually quite a good group thing, because you were taught about not how to insert a tampon or anything, but you were taught about your different options. So, you know, you can still go swimming, you need to use tampons, or, you know, you can have this at night time. And it did talk about how to cope a little bit, so like about, you know, it does hurt but it's not massive, and you can use heat, and for that side of things it was great. The really crappy part about that section of sex education, it was about how to keep yourself safe, and by that it was telling you not to flaunt your breasts and not to wear short skirts, which was disgraceful in my opinion, because rather than teaching young girls how to dress to protect themselves from rape, surely they should teach boys to respect girls and not rape them. So yeah, that was kind of, in the boys' class, obviously I wasn't part of the boys' class, but I had male friends, and obviously we all talked about it. In the boys' class, they talked about wet dreams, which, you know, and how it's a natural thing, and how if it happens, just tell your mum or your dad, blah, blah, don't hide it, it's normal. Get it just not with a tripod. Hello, Q. Hello. Hello, Bubba. He likes the smell of the lip gloss, that's what it is. But the boys had nothing about girls in theirs, so they weren't taught about not raping. But, you know, the girls are taught about dressing appropriately so they're not raped. Crazy. And that was it really, you know, from official guidelines. I was never taught about any form of contraception, apart from in the periods classes they did talk a little bit about the pill, but it was more talked about in a way, in a format to help you control your periods. It was nothing about actual contraception. So yeah, no condoms, no femidoms, nothing like that. I do think maybe when I was 15 I had a class about abortions and things, but that was in part of religious education, and basically we were told they were bad. So, sorry, Darwin and Gilly are a bit high-strung and they're making strange noises at each other. Gilly's decided he's going to join us. Are you feeling a bit needy? He's feeling a bit needy today, and he really likes the smell of this Clinique lip gloss. Don't you? So yes, there was nothing taught to us about homosexuality or anything like that. There was nothing about AIDS or, you know, sexually transmitted infections, diseases. I don't know the correct term these days. You know, we were taught that abortion is bad, which is obviously clearly wrong for them to teach that to such young people. So my sexual education at school was okay, but not great. And as such, we did have a flurry of pregnancies in my secondary school. And I do think a part of that is because they didn't teach anything about, well, certainly to the girls, they didn't teach anything about condoms or protecting yourself from pregnancy or sexually transmitted diseases. It was just kind of, you know, wear a tampon, it's going to hurt, don't wear a short skirt because you'll get raped, and if you do get pregnant, you're going to go to hell if you have an abortion. So it wasn't good, but it was better than some. Very luckily, I had a very open family that, you know, they did talk about things like that. A lot of the stuff I did learn about sex was from like magazines, because obviously the internet wasn't as it is now, so it was like, what was it called? More magazine taught me a lot. But as I said, I had a very open, my mum had a very healthy idea. So if I would like, oh mum, what's this? Some of it she'd get embarrassed by, but she'd always try her best to answer. So yeah, I think that's kind of where I got such a balanced view on sexual health, sexual activity. I have been finding these videos really interesting, so someone might find this interesting. Not necessarily helpful, but interesting. Yeah. If you have enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, share, and I will talk to you guys very soon. Bye guys.